Okay, so Ralph, what did you think of the collection?
I mean, I'm I'm impressed. I don't really know what else to say. It's a really impressive collection. It's nicely laid out. It's a fun space to be in.
It's not, yeah, and that's what I was going for, and it's not, and I take this, it's a sort of a finished basement, not really. It was like, I was a finished basement, then the person that lived here tore it out, and I sort of put it back together, but it's a multifunction room. I have, the laundry right behind the camera, boiler, everything, so we just make use of the space the best way we can. But so for those that may not know, Ralph Attanasia is, or as he goes on Facebook, Ralph Attanasia the Third, is an artist extraordinaire. He is a brilliant sculptor, artist, painter. He has done his most notable work has been on the show Cake Boss as a cake artist and sculptor. He's also done toy design, and he's done costuming and all sorts of different things. And but our history goes back way before that, whereas he went to the high school that I teach at, and I knew him as a student, teaching him choir and working with him on the productions, our musical productions and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, I think it was 14 when we met, and I'm 41 now. So however much time that is.
That is a long time. Well, as I said, I told him it's been my 30th year this year at the school, and 33 years teaching. So, there we go. But I want to dive in, talk a little bit about art, some design, some play, and what it means to create. And you've gotten some opportunity with your job to create in a galaxy far, far away.
That's true. Yeah,
It's really cool. So, so my perspective of you, before to make matters clear, we haven't kept in touch fully, other than maybe Facebook friends, once he graduated from high school. And then fast forward a number of years later, and all my students, their life goes on. They go off to, I'm just a part of their chapter along with the other teachers, and the book closes and a new book opens and they go off. And what I love about Facebook is that we get to follow through on stuff like that and see what everybody's doing. But things kind of went off and years go by, and we have a snow day, and I am home, and we started watching Cake Boss, and we watched a little bit of Ace of Cakes with Duff Goldman, yeah. And we were into the artistic aspect of that, and it was kind of cool and interesting to see what people could do with cake design, and it was becoming very popular. But I started watching the show, and I was kind of, looking through it, and I started seeing a face in the background in like real quick shots. And that looks like somebody, and I kind of was leaning in. That looks like Ralph. I said,
it was me the whole time.
It was him, but it was in the back. And what was happening that day is, I believe the whatever season that was premiering, so they were showing the previous season the whole day. So we just had it on. So the next episode comes in, and I see it some more, and then I'm seeing you more. And I'm like, all right. So I Google you, and I realized I got your school, and it said that you were now got a job on the show. So I was like, oh, cool. So I said to my wife, who had known Ralph as well, seeing all the shows, I said, this guy is going to not be in the background for very long. And that's exactly what happened. Within a handful of episodes, you were then one of the talking heads, in doing your typical, kind of quirky but fun and enjoyable kind of shtick, if you will.
I am an absolute delight.
Yes, he is an absolute delight. Absolutely. He cracked me up so much in high school when he was a student. Probably more than I should have let on, but it was cool to see you, doing this kind of a different type of journey. But my perspective from you prior to that was that I didn't even know you did art. I knew you I never knew that part of you. I only knew you as a singer and as a theatrical person, as someone who does shows.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's a natural product of like how we interacted at school.
And we had our own building.
Like my second thing.
Yeah, we had our own building. We never interacted with any of the other. In fact, it was funny. I never really interacted with the art teachers until my daughter, many, many years later, who came in as an art and took all the art classes.
Yeah, it's funny because the art teachers didn't really interact with me either.
Yeah.
I was not accepted for the advanced art classes.
You're kidding me! Wow. Oh, I got it. Well, no, I would say I'd have to have words with them, but they've all retired.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's a whole new crop. I'm sure they would have grabbed hold of you. But
and even at the time, I remember going okay, well, I know I'm good at this, so I'm not going to let this get to me.
I'm glad
it is weird.
Yeah, it is. Well, even my daughter, they they picked up on her in high school, but middle school not. No, they just ignored her. And it wasn't until really when she got to high school that she found a little bit more of a niche. But get back to you. So, what are some early creative sparks that first drew you to making things with your hands? You seem to do mostly with sculpting. Do you do any drawing too?
Yeah, I love to draw.
Oh, okay.
But sculpture, I've always messed with sculpture. I've always made my own toys from the time I was real
awesome.
little. Like I was obsessed with Mighty Max in the '90s, the little compact play sets, the micro play sets.
Yes, I remember those. Yeah.
And I would make my own out of, like, I'd get air dry clay, and I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing, and I'd just use like a wooden dowel for a hinge, and I would try to like make these like closing little compact play sets that had like details from the inside that would show through the cover when it was closed, the way that the real toys did. I loved that design sensibility.
Yeah. No, that's.
I was a big fan of. Still am a big fan of like the Jim Henson Studios, and the Muppets, and all that stuff. So like I was always making puppets as a kid. I would write my own comics, like all this stuff. They're just, if there was something I wanted to see or read or play with and it didn't exist, I would just make it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So obviously fans, they get to see when they watch Cake Boss or Buddy versus Duff, they got to see your final masterpieces on the show. So what are some behind the scenes challenges that people might be surprised to learn about when you're in the sense of trying to, yeah, well, you can take that question any way you want.
I mean, there's the whole like food aspect of it, because you can't, if I'm working on something, if I'm doing a sculpture at home, I can let it sit for months and then come back to it when I like feel it again. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I can finish it now. But no, you can't do that with food. And you have, deadlines for customers and stuff. And then on top of that, when you're working on stuff for TV, there's the whole production side of it. So there are people who like either don't understand the requirements of what you're doing, or they have their agenda. They have something that they're trying to get out of like a scene or a thing, or like I've had times when like information was withheld from me. This was way back. This was with a bad producer back towards the beginning of when we were doing this stuff. But like they would just hold stuff back so that I would mess something up.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'd have to fix it, and like you've already got all of these big personalities in front of the camera who are like, I'm the weird little guy, and then there are all these, like these big, like blah, 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 blah guys, like they already don't get me,
right,
and so it could be very stressful a lot of the time,
right.
And when you're doing reality TV or competitions, they want that stress. They want to see it on camera because that's drama.
That makes
but
people
also,
interested.
I
mean, it's funny. Like after years of, I don't watch a ton of reality TV.
No, you shouldn't.
I know it's probably. Doctor keeps me on a limited dose. No, but what I have watched, we've picked up on, the more you watch it, the more it's like watching a Hallmark movie. You start to pick up on the beats and what's going on. You start to pick up when we always call it the SHF, when the shit hits the fan.
Mm-hmm.
We always talk about when something goes wrong and there's all this build up and the music builds up and you're like, okay, commercial's coming. The commercial's coming. There's the title. Commercial, boom, and they come back, and then it somehow gets resolved. So, I get that. I'm sorry that you had to go through the real life stress of that, but of all the cakes that you've sculpted over the years, is there one that stands out as your favorite, either for design, its difficulty, or a story that went behind it?
I mean, when in season 2, well, most recently, I did a show called Super Mega Cakes.
Yes,
just a couple of months ago that aired. If you haven't watched it, it's streaming on Max and Food Network or something. I don't know.
We'll find it.
You can find it.
Super Mega Cakes.
I got to do a life-size Superman and Crypto, which was pretty cool. But more than the cake, working on that cake was fun. I hadn't made a cake in 3 years at that point.
Oh my God! Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh my
God. So that was a lot of fun.
So was it like I'm sorry to say I didn't see it, but. Yeah.
He was supported by like the sole of one foot.
Oh,
okay. Flying out towards the viewer, which was, its own. That definitely took at least a year off my life.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of fun to do. I think I like that one a little bit more than I should, just because the other people that I got to work with on that show were such, and they were an amazingly talented group of just fantastic artists, and I
Okay, cool.
love to be around. I love to work around people who are better than I am.
Yeah,
because
raises your game, like,
yeah,
a little bit. Yeah,
you learn
and
when
yeah.
you do that. Um,
Well, it's my father always, and my mom always used to say to me, like, find the better musician, find the one who's, and learn from them, and that'll raise your skill set, and they were right.
but the one I think I have the warmest, like the one that holds the special place in my heart. We did a dinosaur called Zool, which is the ankylosaur. It's one of the armored dinosaurs. It's
Oh.
named after Zool from Ghostbusters
Okay.
because the skull has these protrusions that reminded the paleontologist who named it of the terror dogs in Ghostbusters.
Gotcha. Okay.
But we did that nearly life size.
Oh my God.
Delivered it to the Roosevelt Rotunda at the Museum of Natural History in New York. So
Okay.
like that big rotunda with
Yep.
like the rearing up sauropod and the Allosaurus, like when you first walk in, awesome place to deliver. And there was so much about that I was really into. Like figuring out how to do the kind of pebbled armor on its back. We knew we needed something that was like because the armor on its back looks like a pavement of like river stones, like little pebbles. And we were trying to figure out how to do it. And I had the thought, like, if we could just get like a couple thousand gumballs in different sizes.
Okay.
And we could press them into the cake and then like lay the modeling chocolate over it. And then we'd just have to emboss around them really simply, but it would give us the texture we needed. And the visual joy of buckets of gumballs in every size, that is a blast. This thing wound up weighing better part of a ton.
I was going to say, gumballs are not light.
Yeah, I forget it. Not just the gumball, but like when it was done, the cake, the everything. And we had handles on the base that it was on that had like a bunch of little caster wheels. But the only way that we could move it was to like get down on the ground and grab them and walk it along. And then we get to like the big studio doors, and so they open them up, and we all like get down and we start pushing this thing out. And I started laughing because they opened the door, we got on the floor, and everybody walked to the dinosaur. Which is that joke just did not land at all. There's a song, Walk the Dinosaur, by Was Not Was. Okay, and the chorus, open the door, get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur. Yeah.
I've been teaching all day. I'm tired. I'm sorry.
That happened in real life.
I was thinking about that song while you were talking, but I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember. I know about something about getting on the floor. But thank you for explaining the joke to an old man.
No, nothing makes it good. Nothing improves a joke like explaining.
Oh, isn't it? Isn't that great? All right. So, you've made your feelings known on social media and stuff. But what was that how can you define the grand experience, beginning, middle, and end of working with Buddy Valastro and family?
Oh man.
And I have no loyalty, so just tell it like it is. My loyalty's to you.
I don't. I will always be grateful for the opportunities that working at Carlo's and on those shows afforded me. I wouldn't do it again.
Gotcha.
There are a lot of, I made a lot of good friends doing that, and there are a lot of people in that family that I really love. But he's not someone that I can count on, which is why I don't work with him anymore.
Okay, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember telling you this, but when when Cake Boss was in the height of its popularity, and you were there, I said, let's try to go in the summer to go in, and we my wife and daughter and we all went in. It was early in the morning. We got there. We had to wait an hour and a half just to get in the door. I didn't think to message you to let you know we were coming, which is probably definitively dumb on my part because you weren't there.
There's a good chance I wouldn't have been there though, because I was only in the Hoboken location for the first maybe year that I worked there.
Oh, okay.
Then they opened the big warehouse in Jersey City.
This is before that though. This was like that. It was
okay.
Yeah, because they hadn't opened up the warehouse yet. I don't think so. But what ended up happening was when we did go, an hour and a half to get in, an hour and a half to get out, because you go and you pick a number, but when it was just the one place, and we went in and you weren't there, which I was sorry that you weren't there, but everybody else was.
Oh yeah.
and the camera crew was there, and they were filming. We ended up on their family special. They
Oh,
had
get out
a,
of here.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they, one of the family special ones, and they, it was just a pass through, but
Is that
they
like
literally
family
focused,
secrets?
yeah,
Or whatever?
family secrets, yeah. And they did a couple of B-roll footage of people in the store, and he came out, and we were right in the front getting our cannolis, and and they were like, oh, there we were.
Who knew that we were on an episode of the same show?
There you go. Anyway, but no, I get that. But back to your art. Okay, you've been doing that. I mean, you said you hadn't done it for a while, and you were back recently, but how you've been doing the cake on and off, cake artistry, if you will, for quite a long time. Like you started when did you
2010.
2010, so it's been 15 years
Yep.
on and off. So have you seen, or how have you seen the artistry evolve over the years, creatively, technologically?
The new crop of people who are doing this stuff are just like they put me to shame. Like I used very traditional sculpting techniques for all the stuff that I do. I don't have a background in like chocolate or cake or any of that stuff.
Okay.
So everything I do is me adapting my process with other materials to cake.
Gotcha.
Or things that I learned from the other decorators that I worked with at the bakery. So like all this stuff, guys like Amaury Gouchon, I know I'm saying his name wrong. You'll see, you've seen him on social media if you come across this stuff at all. He's
Doing
a French guy. He does all the
chocolate stuff. Yeah,
yeah. He's impossibly handsome. He's incredibly skilled.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a wizard. He's an actual sorcerer. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. You know, I always feel like I'm cheating because like these people do this stuff with like real, you know, tempered chocolate and stuff, and I'm using modeling chocolate, which is basically edible clay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm in the corner playing with Play-Doh like a child, and then there are these people who are like, you know, pulling inspiration out of the sky and making things that are like beautiful and edible and stuff. So that from when I started, when it was, you know, Ace of Cakes and Cake Boss, to now where it's just exploded so much, seeing all of the talent on display and like having had the good fortune to work with some of these people and to see them progress through their careers, like it's wild.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, I know, you know, playing with clay, playing with Play-Doh might be a way to describe it, but I remember the Babu Frick life size.
All right, that was fun though. That was pretty good. That was fun.
I was impressed. Like I was like, damn, did they let you keep that at least? Not that it would last, but
no,
I'm like, that's crazy. Do they eat those things, or do they just kind of stick to the cake? I was wondering.
They're not made under like sanitary kitchen conditions.
I wondered that.
But this is, so people always come to me, they're like, but it's such a waste. Don't you feel bad? I'm like, well, you got to don't think about it as food. Yeah, because think about it as building material.
Yeah.
Like when they make a movie, you know, if there's somewhere with like sets and stuff, like they might build a whole town, but nobody ever says, oh my God, what a waste of lumber. It's like, it's the material that you use to make that entertainment.
Yeah.
So some of it does get thrown away, yes, but also the companies that do this stuff, they're all like, I know, for example, the bakery, we were always donating like food to the, you know, the
food shelter. Or
thank you. There was a place near the bakery that, like, you know, we were always sending stuff to for a long time. They would like send, you know, scraps off to make like animal feed. Like a lot of stuff gets repurposed, very little gets wasted, except for what you see being made on camera under those like competition conditions, or, you know, like when a lot of the shooting stuff, if it's not, you know, like if you see us not wearing gloves,
right,
when we're making a cake, somebody's not eating that cake.
No. Right, true. So any other, like, for inspiration for your designs? I mean, I know, like, from a designing a cake, you know, obviously you're doing a job, you're doing something that someone has assigned you. But for any other things, whether it be a cake or other sculpture, do you have any other inspirations from other artists or movies or other experiences?
There are lots of artists I love. Jamie Hewlett, who does Tank Girl and was the artist behind Gorillaz. Like that art. Oh God, when that Clint Eastwood video hit, when I was like, again, around the time that I was your student, and I saw Jamie Hewlett's art being animated on screen, I was like, I want to draw like that. That's so cool. There are sculptors like T.S. Kubler. He's this guy who does these. He creates these like kind of fantasy characters. You know, they'll be like kind of a devil looking guy at like a bar who's like, you know, popping a keg, you know, like the cork out of a keg, or there'll be like a weird puppeteer or something. And he makes all these life-sized, like just hyper realistic sculptures of these characters that he comes up with. And, you know, like I'll see stuff like that and go like, oh, I want to do more of that.
That's cool.
But also ADHD plays a big role because
Okay.
I'll pick up skills and be super into them for about 4 or 5 months. And, you know, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, I was doing leatherworking. You know, I was doing like Western style tooling, like by hand, making like, you know, holsters for Nerf guns and all kinds of stuff. And I haven't touched it since. Like this year for Halloween, I made a bunch of animatronic skeletons for my like 6x12 little front garden.
Okay.
Because we live in the city. We don't have like a front yard. Right. So I have a patch about the size of this interview area that I turned into a cemetery. So yeah, one of the other big influences is definitely just my altered brain chemistry.
Okay, yeah, you make it work. You use your tool. You use your tools for good. You use your power for good, and that's
when possible.
Yeah, that's always okay. So obviously we are this is a Star Wars themed channel. So let's
get out of here.
See, you know, I'm kind of a one trick pony when it comes to that. But you mentioned, you know, obviously you're also a huge Star Wars fan. We've shared some stories about some of our characters, our favorite, you know, creatures and things over the years. How's that universe, characters, creatures, design, aesthetic influence your sense of creativity or approach to design? Loaded one, I know.
I don't know how much the specific design aesthetic of Star Wars has influenced my design work, but I know that I do a lot of work within the rules of the kind of Star Wars design because I make a lot of Star Wars related art,
right?
Mostly for my own enjoyment, but like,
how would you say this is a follow up? How would you describe the Star Wars aesthetic if you were to just? I mean, and I know that it is broad. It could be broad,
and it keeps broadening. But there is, I think, a core guiding principle. You know, like it has to work. Is at the heart of everything. Like even if it wouldn't really work, you have to believe it works.
Right.
Which is why, you know, like I mean, you could talk about like how everything's all like greebled up or everything's like rusted and used or whatever, but all of that comes from this central core principle of you have to believe it works. You know, like even something as goofy as like, you know, everything has hover technology, right? Like everything's on a repulsor, nothing has wheels, but they'll have a rickshaw that's pulled by a robot.
Right.
Who's on a little ball. And it's like, well, why? But you believe that it works because you know that everything there floats like that. You know that robots do all those jobs. You know, like the Death Star. None of those machines are real or whatever, but you believe that Obi-Wan is like doing something when he's like pulling all those levers to turn the stuff off because there's a really clear visual language.
Right.
Even when they took all the English off of the labels, you still know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because it works.
Right. No, that's a good point. You know, we always talk about the used universe, the lived-in universe.
Right.
But I remember walking on when you go to Galaxy's Edge in Florida or California, and you're going up the ramp to go onto the Falcon ride, and you get to see the Falcon from up top. I remember taking a good long look at that, and I remember thinking, you know, every little cable, you know, holder that it had a reason. And there was agreement, but there was you believed it. And you believe that had a purpose. Everything had a purpose.
And I think all of the art kind of grows out of that. I mean, like you could talk about Ralph McQuarrie's influences. You could talk about like the kind of futurism of the 60s and 70s that like he was drawing on at the time. But it all, you know, even the creatures, you have to believe they work.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's an influence, and again, it comes from familiar sources. There's always been influence from real world. Influence. It didn't just come out of nowhere. All right. So if you could design a brand new Star Wars toy from scratch, meaning this is tough because there's been a lot of stuff that's already been made. So you could be, if you want it to be a brand new design, if you want it to be a vehicle that they've made, or that they've made it for the movie or TV shows, but they haven't made it into a toy. Is there a play set, a toy?
A play set. If I don't have to design something like Big Brain, if I can just a playset I'd like to see, the gambling den from Solo.
Oh yes! Oh my god!
Put some of the and give me some of those. If anybody is watching who has any influence over this, give us the aliens from Solo.
I know that scene with the whole sabacc tournament. To me, and did you ever see that they released a VR version of it? Did you ever see that?
No. I've played the VR Tales from Galaxy's Edge like 100 times.
This one I haven't heard they literally did. They shot the scene, the entire scene. I don't know if it's the exact. I think it's the exact same scene, honestly. But they might have.
There are a lot of cuts in that scene, though, so it's got to be.
So they either shot it with a different camera up high or whatever, or they reshot it. And it's literally, you put the VR thing in your phone and you put the thing on your head, and then you look around, and you're literally, it's like you're at the center of the table, and you're looking around the entire room, and you see every creature. You see Lando, you see Han, you see Chewie in the back, and they're giving the lines, and
that movie keeps growing on me, man.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, man. That's one of my favorite. I mean, don't get me wrong. Look, there's not a Star Wars movie that I don't like for some reason. Okay. And there's no Star Wars movie that I hate. Mm-hmm. I even celebrate Life Day, for God's sakes, for the holiday special. So, I'm a lover of Star Wars. There are things that I fast forward through or don't like as much, but when it comes to that movie, I think it's got a bum rap because I think that movie was so much fun.
It's like, there are places where you can, see the seams a little bit.
Hello.
Yep.
I'm with you there.
It's as far as like single serving Star Wars goes.
Yep.
It's a good amount. Like it's a good it's a solid meal.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely. So all right. So playset, we got that. That's a good playset. Now, what about a vehicle?
Oh man, like they've made all of it. I mean, I love the.
Well, who was the one you made?
We were talking about the Headhunter.
The Headhunter. Wait, walk me through. Which one is that from? I know
the Headhunter is the precursor to the X-wing.
Oh yes,
it's like the fixed wing X-wing where they just.
Yep. Did they make? No. That was I know that was another name.
I'll tell you the one I'd want to see is a Clone Wars era Y-wing with the cowling still on it.
They did make one. I'll show it to you in a second.
Yeah.
No, I love that's the one Clone Wars vehicle I didn't part with because it was I just like now what's happening is that there's been so much made and so many vehicles and once we got into 2008 and the Clone Wars came out and there was literal figures being made of one-off characters that were literally in one episode of Clone Wars and never to return again. I started feeling like a little overwhelmed.
Yeah,
because by then we were already up to like 1,000 figures, and I'm like, there just isn't enough room. So, and the same thing with vehicles. There were cool vehicles. Don't get me wrong; they were made well. They had cool play features, but they were there. Having said that, I'll tell you one. Have you watched The Bad Batch?
I have not finished it's I think the only Star Wars show I haven't finished.
Okay,
is The Bad Batch.
Their vehicle. They're the Marauder. The Marauder. I think cool. That would be a cool.
Yeah, they have one in the Micro Galaxy Squadron.
Yes, and that's the one I got because they don't have a big one.
I hate the characters from The Bad Batch.
Okay.
I hate them. Okay. They're the only Star Wars characters I hate. I can't, especially Wrecker.
Oh, yeah.
Why did they kill Tech and not him?
Well, I will say this. I don't hate him as much as you. I do like them, but I will agree with you that I feel as though Wrecker would have been a better... Tech, I felt like they barely developed him enough, and then they just started having a really
they pumped character development in so they could kill him.
So that was it. But I do.
It's like the moment Queel told us his name, I knew he was dead.
Yeah,
in The Mandalorian, we're like, by the way, I'm not. What's your name? My name is Queel, and I have a backstory. And I was like, I loved you, but you're gone now.
No, I know. So you mentioned Ralph McQuarrie. Mm-hmm. Some other guys, Joe Johnston, who also did some of the design of the original Doug Chiang.
And Joe Johnston, also a director, right?
Yes,
he directed Gremlins and
he directed
Jurassic Park 3.
That's Joe Dante.
Joe Dante, I'm confusing those guys.
Joe Johnston,
Jurassic Park,
Rocketeer, Captain America: First Avenger.
Right.
So but he cut his teeth. He cut his teeth on Star Wars, and Ian McCaig is another one from Doug Chiang.
Chiang.
Yeah, I'm
Doug
happy.
Chiang, who channels Ralph McQuarrie sometimes.
Yeah, big time. But those are some good
I
inspirations.
have a book that Doug Chang did. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was like a different science fiction. It was like his
Okay.
own project. It's got a bunch of really cool. The art was more memorable than the story for me,
Oh, okay.
but it kind of felt like the narrative was something to hang the art on.
Right. Right.
If any of you know what that book is, give yourself 10 points.
You win. So, what do you have as a? Okay, so you have obviously left the cake designing, cake artistry
I
world.
mean, probably never for good.
No.
Food Network keeps roping me in. Usually once a year they'll have me do something.
That's nice though. That's good.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends over there.
That is good. It's good to have. But you have been kind of, you've also, like you mentioned, building toys. So toy design has been something that you've been, working to get into.
Right.
Do you have any kind of dream project, or like,
gosh.
like a lot of people would look at what and I know this from on a much more smaller scale. I know this kind of a thing is that a lot of people might look at you and be like, that's my dream job. I wish I could go and do that. And the thing is that when you get your dream job, okay, obviously you learn that a dream job is not really a dream job. It's actually a job.
That's just it. Is that every job is a job.
Right. And that's exactly what happened, with me becoming a band director. It was the same thing. It was a dream job, and then I did it. And after 30 years of it, I love it, but it's a job. And so, and once you've achieved that dream, you need to find a new dream. You need to find a new, what's another thing, or another dream? Like, what's another thing you want to aim for? So do you have any other thoughts or dreams, like what would you want your next chapter to be?
I've actually done most of the things that I have thought would be fun to do, like as a job. Like I've worked in a scenic shop doing props, which is something I've always had a lot of fun with. I got to make some props for touring production of Beetlejuice the musical.
Oh, that's cool.
I've had some stuff on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's been I've always been interested in prop work, so I got to do that. Like you said, I've done toy design, which is my current job.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I like doing that I haven't done professionally is act, and I'm not like really an actor. I'm just a ham. So
it hasn't stopped a lot of people in Hollywood or on Broadway.
But even so, like I've gotten to it's kind of not true, because I still have done a lot of entertaining.
Well, as I said, I mean, this when I saw that you were working as a sculptor on the TV show, I said, yeah, this, because there was a lot. I mean, again, I'm giving you my perspective. There, as a TV viewer, I'm looking there, and there are a bunch of people working in that shop, and I know that there's family members and there's people that they drag in to sit in the chair like this and talk into the camera, and I know the format, right? But I also know that this is a real place. I know I've been there. I've actually, you've actually had a team design a cake for me at one point, which is awesome. By the way, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So that was, so I know that there's a whole group of people there, but a lot of them aren't interested in the camera. They're not interested in any kind of interaction with that. They want to do their job, and they're doing it, and they're getting filmed doing it, and that's it. Whereas in your case, I could see that natural ham instinct, which I just call someone who loves the camera, who can make something that would ordinarily be mundane more interesting by nothing more than a slight comment, a little thing like, ooh, and which was when I loved when my crossover dream came true, when you were doing something related to Star Wars on either that show or Buffy vs. Duff or whatever, and you were starting to give lines from the movies and stuff like that. I was like, I'm loving this. He's got to be loving this.
I think there's so much value in entertainment as an industry. I think can often be, and often rightly so, kind of seen cynically, because, not to get up on my soapbox here, but I think capitalism ruins everything it touches. Once you have to make money doing something, the purity of the thing has been taken away, because you always have to compromise.
Yes.
You have to make the cheapest version of something, the fastest version of something. It's never the best version.
Right.
Where was I going with this? What were we
we were just talking about. I was just enjoying what you were saying, but No, just
But
about.
so
but
entertaining,
acting,
but
and
entertaining
entertainment.
people there's a real value in that. Like you people need to have something to to occupy them, make them smile, to make them laugh, to like a story to follow, a new idea that they wouldn't have been presented with otherwise. You never know what's going to spark something in someone,
Yep.
and we love to be entertained. We love stories, we love seeing things we haven't seen before, and so to be a part of that is it's a lot of fun. It's also, in a weird way, kind of a privilege.
Hmm.
Um, and so I don't know. I find a lot of value in that. That's part of why I've done the things that I've done. They're all sort of tied together by like things that make people smile.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, every moment I've gotten to work with you, has
Stop. Come on, stop.
Well,
What are you
no,
doing?
it's
Yeah,
true. I mean, you made me laugh. You made me laugh in a good way.
yeah. I
You're
think the first time I saw you, I had like a rubber fish in my wallet
yeah.
for like a real stupid joke.
Yes, he came up to me. Do you give change for halibut or something like that?
Yeah,
I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be an interesting fellow.
that was what I thought was funny when I was 14.
But I will say, and he caught me at a good time because as an aging teacher, I will say I've grown a little bit. I don't say I'm not like what I would call myself. I mean, I will say this has given me something to work towards that's completely different and separate from that, which I really do think is important to have
Mm-hmm.
because it's so easy to get so caught up in that job and be in every ensemble and do everything all the time, every day, every night. And and I've known people to do that and they end up with an ulcer and, and if they're lucky, that's all they have, a divorce, and God knows what other horrible, tragic things that happen in your life that could be avoided if you could just, manage some kind of balance. And so I've been able to do this and it has been a joy, even though it's tiny. And like I said, if I'm lucky, if I get, if I get 150 views, I'm like, woohoo, yay me. But beyond that, it's usually just a dozen or so, and maybe this will be more. We'll tag your name in it, see what happens. But
yeah, don't
I know,
don't get too excited.
I know. But again, but that wasn't the reason for this. The reason for this was because I've always loved being able to work with you, and we've done musicals together, we've done talent shows with our school's cabaret, and you were our MC, and who was it? Was it you and
Brian Lamb,
and
Leah
Leah
McKenna Garcia.
Leah McKenna Garcia? You better be watching this because I want you on the show next. just do you watch Star Wars at all? Though you got to have at least some Star Wars, and this otherwise it'd be hard to follow. Anyway,
I feel so bad for anybody who knew me when I was young.
Oh,
like
no.
that's the
I don't think you should. I mean,
there's the trial version.
I know, but that's the way with everybody, and you're all just cooking. That's what one of my daughter's art teachers kind of said that to her in college. He said, like, just really, he said, just relax. You're all still in the oven. You're just cooking. He said, you'll figure it all out. Don't worry. And sometimes it takes longer, but yeah, and it's okay. But all right, I'm going to give you one last one. Softball. Favorite Star Wars character? Go.
Oh man, it's either Leia, Tarkin, or Brasso from Andor.
Okay, and you know what? We didn't talk about Andor. So
Andor is amazing, okay. And if you haven't watched it, watch it.
I will say I loved. I'm sorry to say, I loved the first season. I really loved the second season. I didn't realize how much more I loved the second season until I watched it. I'm like, and I think it was because of the format. I think it was because we got to watch them in 3 episode things as opposed to 1 a week, because they were kind of like slow builds to it, but it was good stuff happening. But yeah, the slow build week, and then the next week, and then the next week,
my gosh.
And then it would kick in, and we're like, whoa. And then it would start over and kind of do that. It was almost like 24. You ever watch that show?
I did not.
Yeah, it was.
It
almost,
didn't have any kind of like mutants or robots or anything. So
but
I didn't see it.
The intensity of it kind of would work that way. It would like build itself up in like, there would be stuff in the story each episode, but then it would really kick in every 3 or 4, and then it would start. You get to the next level and have to beat the next boss or whatever it is. Almost like a video game.
Oh god, like the build up to the prison escape.
Oh my god.
I was alone in a trailer. I was shooting a show called Outrageous Pumpkins. That I was a judge on. Which was a joy for me. Yeah. Like I'm a big Halloween person.
Yeah.
And I'm in my trailer, and that episode of Andor comes out when they're escaping from Narkina 5, and they all start chanting "One Way Out," and I am like punching the air and trying not to make too much noise because like they're shooting 20 feet away from my and I'm just
and I'll tell you, it's so cool now that that's a thing at Star Wars Celebration, at other conventions. There's always a One Way Out meetup, and everybody shows up in their white pajamas with the orange stripes, and they just run through the convention. One way out, one way. They just do that. It's the best.
But yeah, I love Brasso though.
Yeah,
like
Brasso is
that character. He's the truest homie in all of Star Wars.
Yep.
And like the first and last things you see him do are covering for his friends.
Yep. No, that way, a true friend.
Yeah,
and
he's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Tarkin is like the most hissable, like just sneering villain. Like,
have you ever read the book? The Tarkin book?
I did. I do not remember anything.
I mean, it was all right. I mean, but yeah, you're right. I mean, just what a cleverly crafted villain.
He's so, and like the more that they fill in about him, the just more hideously hateable he becomes.
Even especially in
Andor.
Andor.
Yeah, when you find out about like the Tarkin massacre, he was just like, oh, I'm just going to land the ship. He's a monster.
Yeah.
Like maliciously trills his R's at people. He doesn't have to.
No.
He does it to annoy them. And Leia, like, you can't. In Return of the Jedi,
mm-hmm.
you've got Luke, who's a straight up superhero at this point, and like his pirate best friend and their giant monster and like their robots and everything, and they all get captured. They're gonna get cooked alive in their clothes. Like the Ewoks weren't even gonna gut them. Like they're gonna watch them burn and eat them. They have a god with them as far as the Ewoks are concerned.
Right.
Like 3PO's there and he's like, hey, don't eat my friends. They're like, hey, listen, we know you're a god, but we're Ewoks. We're going to eat these guys. And then Leia comes out of a hut owned by people this tall who do not wear clothes and don't have long hair.
Yes.
She has a dress. Her hair is did. Like, she showed up and was like, all right, listen, you little bears. I can't keep wearing this. It's dirty. Somebody get me something to eat. My hair is a mess. You, let's fix this. Like, they were going to eat the main character and Leia got a dress. I love her.
And yet, all these years, for as much as I've seen, that's one, and I will say it's my favorite saga movie is Return of the Jedi, and I
really love
Return of the Jedi. Love it, and yeah, Leia is just on next level. I mean, and I never even thought of this, like I mean, I was right at the age of like, ooh, she's in a bikini, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
I was at the age where I looked at that differently, but I didn't want to because I was still wanted to be young. I'm like, no, I don't want to look at her like that. And so I was struggling with that. And then, I grew out of that and I forgot about it. And then later, there was of course, somebody had something to complain about, why are they, they can't call her slave Leia or whatever. Like, why glorifying her in a bikini. And then you get Carrie Fisher right before she dies, sits there and says, hey, I was in a bikini. Yeah, I was chained. And you know what else? I strangled that mother with the chains. I'm like,
I love that they've kind of rebranded that from Slave Leia to Hut Slayer Leia, which I'm in favor of.
I'm in for that. And then to now add your story in my head to how, then she puts on camo, and goes off, jumps on a speeder bike, takes out two biker scouts, befriends a teddy bear, and then that whole story happens.
Yeah.
And somehow she convinces them to make her a dress. In
the time that it took everyone else to get captured and almost eaten. I love Leia. I can't. I don't think I could love Leia enough.
Yep. No, I got you. Okay. Well, this has been more fun than I can even say because it's just been amazing to have
you. It's been good catching up.
I love catching up with you. I love getting you to see the the fruits of my labor and what I've been doing here. And I wanted to ask though, obviously, you have a lot of fans. Maybe people that want to reach out to you or get to know what you're up to. How can people get in touch with you in terms of social media? Do you have any places that they can find you?
Less and less on social media all the time. I still have Instagram. You can find me at Attaboy Ralph.
Okay. Look for Attaboy Ralph on Instagram. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But beyond that, like I got rid of. I'm in the process of getting rid of my Facebook. I'm not on Twitter.
Okay. I ended Twitter.
And my TikTok account like disappeared one night.
So that's just not there. Okay, that's scary. I mean, I stopped. I looked at it. I dabbled. I'm thinking about getting back, but I mean, YouTube Shorts seem to do the same thing. So
yeah, TikTok's great, but it's also mindless. So you have to be conscious of your usage of it because it'll just eat up time if you just.
I know. I've been there. I've fallen into that trap.
But Instagram. That's where you'll find all my nonsense.
Attaboy Ralph. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been fantastic.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please leave comments. If you have any comments for Ralph you want to ask him, please put it in the comments. I'll send them his way. I'll get you answers as soon as I can.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. And yes, and people do that there's a guy who comments on every one of my videos with this. And he thinks that upsets me or something. And I'm like, dude, man, 84, or no, sorry, not 84. Yeah, no, it was 84. 84 to like 92, I was all in on the track. I mean, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine. Have you ever watched that?
Deep Space Nine was my Star Trek growing up.
That was to me, the greatest in that Rick Berman era, the greatest Star Trek. That, the characters in that, the 47 side characters that were in that movie.
Yeah.
They were all amazing, So I love Star Trek. It's just, I don't collect Star Trek,
That's because most of the Star Trek toys are pretty bad.
Yeah, I got this guy right here. I got Geordi. I just killed Geordi. Never mind. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, hit that bell icon. You know all the stuff to do. Check me out on Instagram and Bluesky, along with Darth Tuba Stars Unboxing page on Facebook. Again, thank you. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you guys for watching. And until next time, may the Force and the toys and the cakes be with you.